Hi and welcome to the Concorde 5 SATC from our Smart Air Technical Cotton collection. You can see here it's a tunnel design tent. It has two bedrooms at the back, a sealed living space in the middle, and then this long extended canopy at the front here. So with it being from our Smart Air Technical Cotton collection, what you will find is the fly sheet that we're using on this tent is our Outex AirTech material. So this is a polycoton material which is 65% cotton and 35% polyester. So it has a few advantages which I'll take you through. For me, I think the first one is the fact that it's very, very long lasting. So it doesn't degrade particularly quickly under UV light, so sunlight, and that will obviously just mean that the tent will last a good long time. The second is that it's a breathable material, so it's going to work very well for those who are looking to use a tent in warmer climates. It will keep you a little bit cooler inside. On saying that though, it will actually react to the temperature that it's in, so whereby on a warm day, it will keep you cool inside, but actually when it cools down, it will keep you a little bit warmer inside as well, because the material will react to the temperature. Lastly, the fly sheet is naturally waterproof, although we do put a coating on here just to ensure that water can bead off of it. But what it will do is it will actually seal itself. So all it needs to do to be able to do that is just get wet and dry a few times. And once that process is done, like I say, it will seal itself and it will become naturally waterproof. So next I'll talk you through the frame that we're using on here. So for the main part of the tent here, this is actually our advanced air tube system on here. So what that means is that we have these inflatable tubes, of which there are 3 running across the tent here, and these are all interconnected on the inside using our Smart Air system. So what that means is that you have one single plug-in point for the pump to be able to pump this entire tent up and inflate it into position. From there then all you need to do is just zip on this front canopy, and there's then a steel pole at the front there, so that will actually withstand some pretty high wind as well. Even though it's not an inflatable frame on there, we have the steel frame to ensure rigidity. So if I start off with the pump that we supply with the tent, it's like this one here. So it's a double action two-way pump, and what that means is every time you pull the lever up and push the lever down, you are inflating the tubes in the tent. There's also a pressure gauge on top of the pump as well, so you can keep an eye on the pressure that you are inflating the tent to. And we would recommend inflating this tent up to 7 psi, which represents 0.5 bar. So we'll now just show you the valves in detail. So here you can see the one air in valve that we use to inflate the entire tent. You can see it's quite clearly marked air in. Just under here then there is a one-way valve, and this is where you would attach the pump to inflate it. With it being one way, you can see there's no air coming out of this valve. So I'll just pop that back on there to then show you the air out valves. So you can see again quite clearly written on here, it says air out, and you will find one of these for each tube that goes along the tent. So in here is where the release valve is. It's just a case of turning this to the open position and the air will come out of the tent. So it makes it really quick and easy to deflate when there's one of these for each tube. A prominent feature on the Concorde 5 is the fact that we have this full rain-safe entrance on the side here. Now this is created using this alloy pole, which is just easy to attach in the sides here, and then comes through a pole sleeve, of course, into something similar on the other side. Now what that gives you is a good sized rain-safe entrance on the side. If you're not using that front canopy on the front of the tent here, then this is certainly going to be a great entrance because it's completely sheltered across the sealed area and the inside. So just to highlight as well that there is a detachable bathtub ground sheet in here at the moment, and this comes with the tent as well. So you don't have to have this in place necessarily, but it's quite good to have so that you can come in here and take off your wet muddy shoes or boots or whatever in this area. You can see also that it folds up at the front here as well, and that's just the way that we have it positioned at the moment. There are 2 pegging points on this ground sheet, so you can have that flat down if you want. You'll then also see that there's a zip on the top of it here, so when you zip the door down into place, you can then zip the ground sheet along onto that to create a good seal on that area. There's then also mud valances down the side just to encourage any water to run down and away from the inside. So next I'll just highlight that we have large tinted windows all the way around the tent here. So these are going to be serving 2 key functions, one of which is to reflect any sun glare from the inside of the tent, and the second is of course to give you much better privacy within there as well. So while I'm here, I'll just also highlight that we're using our floating guy line system on here. So this is where the top part of the guy line matches the colour of the tent, and the bottom part is our classic luminous guy line here. So you should be able to see that a little bit easier when it's a bit darker outside. So the floating part comes from the fact that the top here ties in with the tent, so you have this sort of floating luminous skyline towards the bottom. So when it comes to packing the tent down, what you will find is that each guy line then has its own retainer, which looks just like this loop here. So we can wrap up the guy lines in our hands and pop it in here, so the next time you come to use a tent, the guy lines are nice and easily accessible. So the next thing I want to talk about is this front canopy that comes with the tent. As I said, it just zips into place and you've got this steel pole at the front. It's got good quality storm guy lines here on the front as well, so that if the wind does pick up, you know that it's going to be quite secure. So what this area does give is just that extra outside living or storage space. Of course, if it's a beautiful hot sunny day, then you're going to get a good bit of shade under here, or if it's more likely that it's going to be drizzly and a bit wet, then you can get good shade in here as well. As I say, it does just zip off, so if you don't want to use the canopy, if you're restricted for space, then you can easily take this off. So then coming to the front of the tent here, we have a D-door style, so you can see that it rolls away to the side instead of rolling up the way. And what we do have is just some toggle points on here that you can just then keep the door nice and neatly stowed away. What I want to highlight is that there is tinted windows on that door as well, so when it is closed and you're inside the tent, you'll still get good views out with the tent. Behind this door, we then have another full mesh zipped door, which hopefully you'll be able to see back here. Again, we have it rolled away at the moment. So what we can do is leave that outside door rolled away like this, and then take the mesh door and fully zip that down into position. So one thing I want to highlight here again is the fact that you can fully seal this front of this tent, because the whole area in here is actually a sealed area, but the ground sheet at the front has a flat front to it. So you can see here, nice and easy access into the tent. But then we have this zipper that runs along here. So again, we can fold this up just like the side entrance that we highlighted, and you can zip this onto the front door to create a good sort of weatherproof seal. So stepping into the tent, there's certainly a good amount of headspace in here. I'm quite tall at around 1.95 meters, and I have plenty of height here. And there's a good living space in here as well, certainly enough for tables and chairs and things like that. As I mentioned there, then the ground sheet is fully sealed from front to back and side to side. You can see at the edges here that it is a bathtub style ground sheet, so it comes up around the edges, stopping any drafts, dirt, dust, sand, and more importantly, those unwanted bugs getting into this area as well. You have the full rain safe entrance on this side, as we've already highlighted, and on the other side there is another side entrance here, which also has a full mesh door, as does the rain safe entrance as well. So what that's going to allow for is great ventilation within here, as I said, even though this material is breathable. The tent also has a handy storage hanging basket which comes with it. It just clips into place, and it just gives you an option of having this in here to be able to store away your personal possessions. There is also a lantern hanging point in the tent as well. We have one of our Corvus strip lights in here at the moment. The lantern hanging point is actually at the front here. And then running away from that in both directions, we have a cable tidy which runs all the way down to where we have a cable entry point just here. So you can see we actually have the cable coming in through here in this zipped pocket into the tent. What that will allow you to do is bring the power into the tent without actually having this door open. So at the back of the tent is where the bedrooms are located, and as I mentioned before, again, this tent sleeps up to 5 people. What you can see here is that we're using our wave-shaped hanging point system on here. So that's where we have this waved mesh around the top. What that gives you is a nice stylish look to the inner tents, but it does have a function of taking any of the stress point off of the top seam of the bedroom. We then also have our stripes on here to give you that home away from home feel, because of course this ties in with the colourway of the tent. We also have some handy storage pockets on the outside of the bedroom. And you can see here that the bedroom doors also have mesh panelling, which has got the curtain closed behind it at the moment, so that's where you can see these stripes on here, but if you want to open that up, you can do. Inside the bedroom, there are also plenty of features as well. We have some handy storage pockets down the sides of the bedrooms, just in here. So these are going to be great for books and magazines or phones and chargers and things like that. Across the back of the tent, we then have a large ventilation panel, which corresponds to outside ventilation on the fly sheet. We then have a full zipped piece of material separating the 2 bedrooms, which we have in place here. Of course, though, if you do want one large bedroom, this is easy to zip open just to create that one bigger space across the back. The tent also features our universal inners, which is what this zip down the middle here is for, and we'll just show you now how that works. So we have a good number of optional extras available for this tent. We have a 3-layer insulated carpet for this area. We then have a fleece carpet, just like the one that we have in here at the moment. There's also a footprint available to go under the ground sheet to keep that clean and dry on those wet and muddy days. We then also have a front awning available for this tent, which certainly massively increases the living or storage space. So there you have it then. That's all the features of the Concorde 5 SATC from our Smart Air Technical Cotton collection. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, this tent can be inflated using our Typhoon 12-volt compressor pump.